Hi guys, it's Brandon Cruz with Damon's Real Texas Barbecue. Today we're going to be cooking a pork butt. I'm going to show you exactly how we make it here. It's the way I did them in competition, the way I do it here at the restaurant. Okay, so we got a bone-in pork butt. Just threw it in a nice bag. Like I've said before in other videos, always use ice bags. Ice bags are food grade. Do not use a trash bag. That you can really hurt somebody doing that. Trash bags have a liner on the inside. A lot of times you can feel that little powder in them. It keeps them from sticking. That can hurt somebody. So do not use it. Use ice bags. They are food grade. Okay, so what we're gonna do? Simple way. I marinate these pork butts. Day before I plan on seasoning them and putting them on the pit, I use cherry Dr. Pepper. That's all it is. Don't have anything else I put on it. Do not use cherry Coke. Do not use any other product other than cherry Dr. Pepper. Cherry Dr. Pepper, if you look, actually says cherry, natural, and artificially flavored. Okay, so Coke does not have any natural flavors on their cherry Coke. I one time used cherry Coke, because they didn't have any cherry Dr. Pepper. When I tasted that pork butt, it tasted like straight Robitussin. Like, you do not want to use cherry Coke. Whatever artificial flavor they use in there actually gives it a very bad taste when combined with smoke. Cherry Dr. Pepper, on the other hand, gives it a very faint cherry flavor. In competition, I would marinate it overnight, and then I would also inject, because usually you don't have nearly as much time as you do here at the restaurant. But what I do in the morning when I get here, throw 4 cans inside the bag, let it sit all day, overnight. Next morning, I end up seasoning it, throwing it right on the pit. But so that's the key, cherry Dr. Pepper. Not regular. And what you'll see tomorrow, notice that red tint of that soda. Tomorrow, when I pull it out of this bag, that pork butt's going to be red. I mean, red. So, and it gives it a very, very light cherry flavor. I don't want an overpowering cherry flavor. I have used other products. I've seen people use cherry Kool-Aid, and it gives sometimes a very overpowering cherry. I just want that faint flavor there in the back. Like, you're like, man, what is that? Cherry Dr. Pepper. All right, so we got 4 cans in there. We're going to tie it up. Then I'm going to take an extra bag, double bag it just in case, because I don't want this leaking for any reason inside my refrigerator overnight. Now, I did not trim anything off of this pork butt. Literally take it out of the plastic and put it straight into this bag. Now, if you can tell on the video, this you got one side of the pork butt that's going to have your fat layer. The other side has more of the meat. So when you set it in the refrigerator, if you can see, that's the meat side. That's the fat side. I put it fat side up because I would rather all the meat get the cherry Dr. Pepper. So it's going to go in the fridge just like this. Tomorrow we will take it out. We will season it. We'll throw it on the pit, and we'll go from there. All right. All right, guys. This is the next day after our pork butt has been sitting in the refrigerator in the cherry Dr. Pepper overnight. Now what we're going to do is we are going to cut it out of the bag, season it, and get it on the pit. Now I want y'all to see, remember I said how red this is going to come out due to the cherry Dr. Pepper. You can really see already. And remember, when we put it in the refrigerator, whoa, whoops. That's why I usually do that in the sink. It's all right. Okay, so you can see how red this sucker came out. It it is really, really, really pink. And remember, when we stuck it in the bag, stuck it in the refrigerator, we left this side sticking up so that way the meat would be inside all that cherry Dr. Pepper. But came out beautiful. So all right, so now we're going to season it up. Use our seasoning. You can use whatever seasoning you like. Some people just use salt, pepper, and garlic. This is our seasoning. I came up with this probably 20 something years ago. It's bottled for us now. You can purchase it through us here at the restaurant. We're waiting to set it up on our website as well, where you'll be able to eventually purchase it online. But I use this for everything from pulled pork, briskets, chicken, ribs, you name it. Remember, we didn't trim this brisket. This pork butt at all. Came right out of the plastic, straight into our ice bag with our cherry Dr. Pepper. We don't lightly season this. This is a big hunk of meat. You can season the hell out of it. Just get all the sides, all the little nooks and crannies. And that's it, guys. Now we're going to throw this sucker on the pit. It's going to get a good smoke bath till it hits about 165 internal temp, or I am satisfied with the outside bark. Then it'll get wrapped, pulled around 203, and let it rest, and it'll be ready to go. So next step, let's throw it on the pit. All right, guys, we're in the pit room now. We're going to go ahead and throw this pork butt onto the pit, and then just leave it alone. Every time we open the door, we're going to take our apple cider, and we're just going to spray it down. That's the only thing that I use and I only use it really on pork, is apple cider. Not apple cider vinegar, apple cider. Apple cider is basically apple juice with more sugars and cinnamon added to it. That's all I ever use on pork. I used to use apple cider vinegar. It's a little too strong of a flavor. I like the subtle sweet hints of the apple cider. So that's what I got in here. Apple cider. We'll spray it through the cooking process. Basically, every time I open this door to check on something, I'm going to spray it with that apple cider and then just close it up. But also, don't start spraying the apple cider until your seasoning starts to set on it. Because if I sprayed it right now, as soon as I put it on there, it's just going to wash the seasoning off. You want that seasoning to start to stick to the meat before you start spraying. So usually about 3 hours or so, then it should have started to set where you can start spraying it. But we're going to go ahead and set this in there on that Amy. We're going to pick one of the shelves not being used. We're going to put it towards the back and basically just forget about it, except when we open the door, spray it down. We're just going to set it right there in the middle on the back of the shelf. Slide it all the way back where it's not too terribly hot. I'm going to be running the pit. I maintain usually about 350 degrees is what I like to run. I run a little hotter than most people. Time is money, so I just let the pit do what it likes to do. And she's comfortable at 350, so that's where she's going to sit. Sometimes it'll go up to about 375. 375 to 325 is usually my window, somewhere in there. But we'll let it sit. About 7 hours, it should be ready to wrap. Hi guys. All right, so our pork butt has been on for roughly about 7 hours now. It should be somewhere around 165. Been spraying it with our apple cider. I'm gonna go through what we're about to do. We're gonna pull this pork butt off. We're going to wrap it. I'm going to show you what we put on it when we wrap, how we go about wrapping. Real quick, we're going to check the temp on this pork butt. We're going to use our list time digital thermometer. I've been using this one for a couple weeks. It was sent to me to try out and see what I thought. It's a good product for what the value of it. Looking around, you're spending about $27 on Amazon. It comes with an extra battery. It's pretty quick, you know, especially for the price. You know, it does a really good job. Only thing I wish it had was, instead of the battery where you change it in and out whenever it runs out, I wish it was able to recharge. That would make it a little bit better, but it's a fast product. I like it. I like it. So let's check this pork butt out. That pork butt looks great. And let's see what our digital thermometer says. There we go. We're pretty close to 165. That'll work. So, and really, you don't have to wrap at 165, but what I usually go off of is the color of the bark. That's what you're really wanting. It might be at 170 before, or 175 before it gets to the color that you prefer. It might be there at 150. So wherever you're comfortable with your outside bark, that's where you want to go ahead and pull. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 pieces of foil. I have these 2 pieces. I'm going to show y'all how I wrap. So I take those 2 pieces, line them up. I start here at the top, and I fold, make one small fold, and then I fold it again. I do about 3 to 4 folds. What you want is just to, and this pork butt's not real big, so you don't have to have so much foil, but I like to make sure that this thing is completely covered. I'll turn it sideways, unfold it. I'll hold my hand down to keep that fold flat. And then, so now I have a big space to work with, plenty of room to wrap. And this is 18-inch foil, so, but I just like to make sure that I have plenty of room. Take out another piece, lay it in the center, and now I don't have to worry about anything leaking. Everything that I'm about to put on this pork butt is going to stay within that foil. All right, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take a handful of dark brown sugar. You can use light brown if you prefer it. The reason I use dark brown sugar is it has more molasses than the light brown. It's the flavor profile that I like to look for, or that I'm going for. Just take a couple handfuls, sprinkle it down on the foil, spread it out. All right, so next we're going to use some Parquet squeezed butter. Fake butter, but hey, it works great for this. There's no right or wrong amount to put. I just squeeze it on there. Same thing with honey. Take a little bit of honey. Good. And last but not least, tiger sauce. You can usually find it at local grocery stores. Kind of like hot sauce, but has a little sweet finish to it. It's great on seafood, boiled shrimp, but I've used it for years on pork. That's about it. All right, so now we're going to take our pork butt out. Set that right there in the middle. I'm going to give it one more spritz with our apple cider. Now we're going to do the same thing on top that we just did on the bottom. Brown sugar. Now all this is going to melt. It's going to turn into almost a sweet sauce. That sauce, we're going to use that tomorrow when we pull the pork. We're going to put it right back onto the pork after we pull it. It's not quite a whole bottle of butter, but use quite a bit. There's no right or wrong amount. I guess I'm so used to doing it. That's about it. So now we're going to seal this sucker up. What I always do, bring my sides together, roll it down, and then fold my ends up. Pack it nice and tight. Now take a foil half pan, set that sucker right there, and it's going back on the pit till it reaches an internal temperature of 203 degrees. Now I want to show y'all something. I've seen a lot of people, whenever they go to check temperatures on something that's wrapped, they'll unwrap it just to check the temperature. You don't have to do that. You can just put your probe right through the center, right through the foil, and there we are, still about what it was when we pulled it off the pit. So, and then whenever you go to check temperature later, just use that same hole. It's not going to leak fluid out of it or anything, or be not juicy because you pierce through it. Just pierce right through that sucker. I do it on briskets, pork butts, you name it. I don't ever unwrap it to check the temp. So we're going to set this sucker up close to the front of the pit. The pit's a little hotter in the front than it is on the back side. I'm going to set it right here. And that's it. I'm guessing about 2 hours, we should have it pretty close to 203, but I'll probably check it in an hour, just see where it's at. And when you'll notice, it's kind of not like the briskets where it'll stall out for at 170 or so for a while, and then all of a sudden, no. It seems like with pork butt, it goes slow till you hit about 190, and then all of a sudden you'll be at 203 in a matter of minutes. So once you start getting around 190, check it a little more often than every 30 minutes or so. Check it about every 15. So anyway, with that, we'll go ahead and let it cook till 203. Then we'll pull it, let it rest, and tomorrow morning we will pull that bone out and see what we got. All right, guys, this is the next day. We have our pulled pork here, or our pork butt. After we wrapped it, went right back onto the pit. It sat on the pit until it reached an internal temperature. I pulled at 205, got a little past 203. That's about the temperature range you want to go with pork. You don't want to go much past 205 because after that it starts to dry out. Brisket, beef, you can go a little past that. I've gotten into the 211, about 210, 211 is what I used to pull brisket at a competition. I don't do that at the restaurant. I pull at 203, 205, try to keep it in that area, 207. But pork, you want to stay under 205. So 203, 205 is a sweet spot. So anyway, after that, put it in the proofer, sat in the proofer all night. Proofer maintains 140 degrees, stayed in there all night long. Now we're ready to see what we got. So we're going to unwrap this sucker. And remember, we put it in this little foil pan. That foil pan wasn't really for anything other than should the foil tear, it'll catch all of our juice, because we want to save all this juice in here, because it's going to go right onto the pork after we pull it. Man, this sucker is so tender. We're going to put it in this little sturdier half pan. Now, if you can see, we got there's our bone right there from this pork butt. We're going to slide this bone right out. And I mean, with ease, just slides right out. Throw that sucker away. No need to keep it. And look how tender this is. Just beautiful. So what I usually look for as I'm pulling it, you might get big pieces of fat. This isn't one that tears right apart. Or you might get some spots that have a little char, kind of a little harder. Don't really feel any in here. If you do, sometimes just pull those out. You know, if you're not real big into it. Like I say, I kind of like it to be like this piece right here. It's a little harder than some of the rest of that pork. I'm just going to throw that away. Don't really want it in my sandwiches or nachos or anything like that. Everything else feels great. Fantastic. All right, so now what we're going to do, like I said, we save all this juice. Remember, it has the brown sugar, the honey, the butter, all that. All your drippings are in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour this onto this pulled pork. We're going to give it a good mix. And perfect timing, phone starts ringing. Yeah, we're just about to open the restaurant. That's why phone calls are coming in. So I usually don't pour the whole amount. I save a little bit just in case it's super sweet. You know. Okay, so we're going to mix this. Notice I haven't added any barbecue sauce, anything like that. I like the pork flavor more than anything. There's another little hard spot. You can kind of just see it. It's good, and a lot of people like that. It's just not my thing. So if you like it, keep it in there. But that's basically from all the sugars and everything while it's on the pit cooking. That'll harden up, caramelize. A lot of people really enjoy that part. To me, yeah, it's the bark, but it's just a little harder. It gives it a different texture in your mouth. And I kind of like the textures to be even. Okay, so we're going to give this a taste here in just a second. Got it all mixed up, and you'll see the pork will soak up all that fluid or liquid. And sometimes I'll go ahead and keep that liquid just in case I want to add it later, in the day. Usually I don't, but sometimes I will. But here, give it a shot. Man, I think that's perfect. You get just a little bit of that cherry flavor from the cherry Dr. Pepper. You pick up that tiger sauce and the honey and the sweetness. It's really good. I'm gonna give my cameraman a try real quick. Really good. Yeah. So that's it. I mean, it's pretty simple. You notice we didn't trim anything. We went straight into our cherry Dr. Pepper, brined it overnight, seasoned, goes on the pit, just smoke it. We spritz it a little with the apple cider, but that's it. There's nothing much to it until you wrap it, let it go till 203, pull, let it rest. If you don't rest it overnight in a proofer, you don't have a proofer, that's fine. Just rest it for an hour at least. Don't go straight off the pit, pull the bone, and start pulling it. Make sure it rests for at least 1 hour before you pull, and then you're good to go. Now we're gonna make sandwiches, tacos. It's gonna go on nachos. So we're good to go. Anyway, that's it. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to our page. Have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. I'll answer them the best of my ability. There's no real secrets in barbecue. If you're doing it, somebody else has probably done it in the past. So I'm willing to share just about anything I know. So with that, thank you. God bless you. And remember, smoked meat, not meth. Basically, we're just picking off from yesterday's stuff. Here, picking back up.
But this is going to be the first thing.
No, this is going to be the last thing.
Oh,
then we're
okay.
going to do the,
Then we're gonna do that.
yeah.
Okay.